Alrighty, welcome into Chalk Talk Social. It is Saturday, not our normal Friday episode today to do our exclusive NFL draft coverage episode of round one, the first 2 days actually of the draft. We got Joey sitting in for Iman to kind of go through everything that's gone on, biggest surprises, best grades, worst grades, the steals, just random things about the draft. So if you need to get caught up on things, you want to get into it, this is the episode for it. Joey, how we doing? Have you been able to watch the draft? You got your initial thoughts?
For all the organizations, right? That this is the time where that one guy can change your franchise, and so it makes everyone even playing field. So I'm ecstatic. It's weird as a Bears fan to this is the I always forget how to do it. Highest pick or the latest pick? I always flip them how they
The
say
latest
it.
you've picked in the
So the
first
latest
round.
they've picked in the first round in 15 years because
wow.
they've been horrible for so long. So
Kind of worked out though.
I think it did, and I got my official Bears draft hat. It came with a little draft pin
Oh, not
because they
bad.
finally made one that fits my giant head.
There we go.
So I got very excited.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been a cool draft so far. I mean, Pittsburgh sets the new record attendance with on day one with like 320K, I think
That's
it was.
bananas.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL moved to this new 8-minute first round timer. I think once upon a time was it 12 or 15 minutes once
It might
upon a
have been. It
time?
was brutal.
Take 4 hours to get through the first round, but you would just get Mel Kiper ripping for like a fresh 5 minutes a
Forehead just
player.
keeps growing as it kept
Yep.
going.
The forehead just keeps growing, but now it's 8 minutes, and that new format kind of got torn to shreds online because there was like no analysts, and nothing got to breathe, and we didn't get like the full panel talking about every player really. They had to go like bang, 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 and that's kind of one of the lures of the draft is hearing these gurus like Kiper and McShay and I'm forgetting Louis Riddick, like getting into all these guys. So that was another thing they tried out. There was 8 trades in the first round, so it was super busy. My official final mock draft for the newsletter did not work out. Started off hot with my first two, went 2 for 2 to start, and then the Cowboys did not trade for the third pick, and it all went to shit from there pretty much. But I think I got 2 more with Sonny Styles, the Jadarian Price of the Seahawks. I got the Giants taking the Francis, the lineman from Miami. So a couple things, but one of my favorites was Atlanta, keeping it in the bloodline, taking Avion Terrell to pair with AJ Terrell, his brother, to be the DBs. So that was a fun thing. That's got to be so cool, man. Lining up across from your brother on the NFL field
Awesome.
that is awesome. You're both cornerbacks. That's sweet. And then goes down as one of the most wide receiver heavy drafts in history already. So been a hell of a thing so far. I don't know. Do you have any just random draft notes from some takeaways to kick it off? If not, we can go straight into Packers Bears.
My biggest takeaway, which I'll get to later, but it's just I don't understand if you're an organization like the Cardinals and you had a talent like Kyler Murray, even though he's got his issues, couldn't figure it out. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get Carson back.
Yeah,
Just like, oh my god, that's
that'll
just the
fix it.
wrong bet. Like you only get so many of these bites of the QB apple, and it's like, man, I know he's a lifer and had a storied college career, but this guy's like 65 years old. He's not going to win you anything in Arizona. And that was just like oh boy, they're doing that.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Cardinals are going to come up in this episode for sure. A little bit questionable moving with their picks, and we'll get into it. On the flip side of it, one team we won't get too much into this one, but I really like what John Eric Sullivan, new GM for the Dolphins. I love what he's doing, building up that defense for new head coach Jeff Hafley. Obviously, goes against Chris Johnson in the first round. Maybe a little early for Chris Johnson, but he's a really good football player. I think he's gonna be their starting cornerback day one. Of course, then he gets Jacob Rodriguez in the middle in the linebacker room to go with Jordan Brooks, who's just coming off an All-Pro season. So that instantly becomes one of the best linebacker duos in football, I think. And then they freaking get Chris Bell, Louisville receiver at pick 94. Obviously, he's coming off the ACL injury, but draft analysts across the board said this is a top 40 player. Had he not had that ACL injury, this is a first round player. We're probably talking top 25 player. He goes at pick 94. I'm going to go ahead and chalk that up already as the steal of the draft. Sounds like he's going to be ready to play for the season, not miss time. And this is like modern day, better version. Like it might be a better version of Deebo Samuel, a healthier, modern day version of Deebo Samuel that they just got picked 94 that otherwise could have went first round if he has a healthy year. So just based off the traits, the talent, and the production he was having before the injury. So really big shout out to what the Dolphins are doing. And they might accidentally be better than they need to be and not get the quarterback they need next year's draft, which is what they all don't want to happen. They don't want that to happen, but really like what they're doing there. And Bears were the next one I had to talk on. If we want to start, let's start with the Bears-Packers. The one thing I had to say about the Bears before I let you kind of give us your feelings on it, they are really freaking committed to this tight end room, man. Like you used your third round pick to draft your third string tight end. And I know the guy is like highly touted as the best blocking tight end in this class, and 13 personnel is becoming more of a thing in the NFL. But that pass rush still needs a lot of help. That front seven needs a lot of help. And there was really good players on the board to help fix that. And you had said took your third string tight end right after you went and drafted Colson Loveland last year in the top 10, which he's working out. You still got Cole Kmet on the roster too. So thought that was interesting. Your Bears really committing to the tight end room with other gaps. But I'll let you tell. What do you think about the Bears draft?
Yeah, I'll start with that, then I'll go to the good stuff. That was just, I saw that and I was just shocked. It's like, they are desperate for defensive line help, and they're betting a lot on Shamar Turner here to come back healthy and guys take a next step. But man, Colson Loveland is a stud. Cole Kmet is a very, very good tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And when you set yourself up with these trades to have extra second and third round picks, you really got to hit on them. And you need an impact player. And especially with how the Bears have handled their salary cap and had to get rid of some guys this offseason, I imagine because they got rid of their second round pick, that their third round pick is kind of a quasi starter. And to have a backup tight end is kind of crazy. Like, I know they used Durham Smythe a lot last year, who was the backup tight end.
Also a
backup to the backup tight end. Right. But to have a draft pick spent on that, you got to really figure it out. Unless there's something cooking where, as much as we all love Cole Kmet here, and they do too, he's a Chicago guy, maybe Ben Johnson's like, I need another kind of type of player in this offense. Just like on defense, right? The Bears had two good safeties in Kevin Byard and Jaquan Brisker, but Dennis Allen was like, I need quickness. And then they got Kobe Bryant and now Dylan Thieneman, who we'll talk about. So maybe they're just trying to retrofit this team now to fit the current coaches and scheme that they have. But outside of that, it's been a very interesting draft. I think I didn't really expect them to take a safety, but I know they needed it desperately. And now, as you know, they need speed. So that's where Thieneman comes in. And I think, they talk a lot about pro defenses in terms of what college programs are playing pro-style defenses. And the two major ones that always stick out are Ohio State and Oregon. And Thieneman's from Oregon and knows how to play at the NFL level. So I'm excited about that one. Logan Jones, they need a center of the future with the Drew Dahlman retirement. So he's not probably going to be your center this year, but we'll see. They got Bradbury in the offseason for New England. But I think they got to just build on the line. And then obviously they took Roush at tight end. And then their final pick of the third round was Xavier Thomas of LSU, wide receiver. And again, I'm all for Ben Johnson leading the charge here, but you need some defense. So the only thing I can say is you need, how do I want to phrase this? When you're in this window for Caleb Williams' rookie contract, you got to build it properly where you spend to win, but also know that Caleb Williams contract extension is coming, and you got to have guys backfilled behind it. So when you look at this and go, all right, the Bears get rid of DJ Moore, that's a big hole, and Luther Burden's got to step up. But now you look at it and go, Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, and now if they believe a lot in Thomas, those are three guys in the same window that are cheap. And if they can be high impact, and what better system to learn it than Ben Johnson's, you'll be set. There's still something missing on defense, but they're all in on the Ben Johnson formula of outscore everybody. Good luck.
Yeah, the Xavier Thomas one, man, we got to get into that because most people had him as a 6th-round pick. And like, this is a total project receiver. He's fast as shit. I think he ran a 4.28, so maybe he's your returner. But again, that's a 3rd-round pick when you got serious needs on defense and a guy that most projected to go at the very end of the draft. And there's better receivers at LSU than him. Shoot, right. When you drafted him, Chris Bell was still on the board, Elijah Surratt, Skylar Bell, like guys who like many thought would go round 2, early 3, and you took a guy that many projected to go round 6 or 7. I don't know what's going on there with Ryan Poles because they started so hot with Thieneman. I was like, they get him. I had a feeling. I texted my boys like, man, I have a bad feeling that they're going to take him. You lost 3 safeties this offseason. Obviously, Kobe Bryant, ascending star at the position. Now you get Thieneman. I was like, damn, that's such a good pick. He's such a ball player back there. Great athlete. Was so fluid. The combine was just so impressive. So I was like, damn, hot start for the Bears. Right direction to help that defense. And then the other picks, I'm like, what the hell? And Logan Jones is a good run blocker, no doubt about it, but he is not a good pass protector. That's not his calling card. His calling card is run blocking. So it slowly just went downhill from the first pick because the Xavier Thomas, I was like, that might be outside of the Jaguars taking that tight end in the 2nd round that I still have never heard of. That might be, I was going to, not to be mean, I was going to say Xavier Thomas is the reach of the draft so far.
it is very reachy, and that's what's scary is like...
Gadget guy, though, maybe. Like,
yeah.
He might just like that. Ben Johnson might have just be like pants off for the speed, but
right.
In terms of roster building, that one was so confusing to me. I don't know how Chicago fans are feeling. You got a chance to check the pulse on that one online yet or anything?
I think they're just, the Pulse is confused because we really trust Ryan Poles, and they built a winner this year, but this isn't a team that's building for a future and they're tanking right now. This is a win now team. And so if you look at this draft and go, all right, yeah, you need offensive line help. You need center help next year, not this year. You just acquired your starting center. So wait, get an impact player on defense in that 3rd round, or even your 2nd round pick, for Logan Jones. And then you can get your center of the future later in the draft. Same with Thomas. It's at a point where I know they like to draft best player, but they're not also drafting for need right now. The first pick, need Thieneman. Mm-hmm. That is a need. You need safeties. These other ones seem to be luxury projects at a time when you're trying to win now, and because of your cap strap, you need to get winners in the draft. They're going to start for you in September.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think the confusion is in the Bears universe right now, and I'm fascinated to see the press conference when this is all done on how they explain it.
Yeah, I don't know how you explain the Xavier Thomas one, man. Like I was saying, I think the only other pick that competes with that one for biggest reach of the draft so far was the Jaguars going up and getting. I have to even look up his name. I don't even remember the guy's name at this point. What is his name? Who did the Jaguars say? I'm totally blanking on his name right now. Oh, Nate Borkacher. And so I'm starting to question if James Gladstone knows what the hell he's doing, right? He gave up everything to go get Travis Hunter, and now he's only a cornerback. And now they go get Albert Regis, a defensive tackle in the 2nd round was a big reach. And then in the 3rd round, they get this Nate Borkacher. Oh, no, sorry. They got Nate Borkacher in the 2nd round. And he might be the least productive tight end to ever get drafted in the 2nd round. And there was objectively like 4
I don't know. Adam Shaheen's up there, but go ahead.
Oh, sure. Yep, fair. But there was objectively like 5 or 6 better tight ends still available. Like a lot of guys that thought would go round 2 for sure that ended up going later. So that one blew my mind. And then Albert Regis at DT was another one. I was like, what is this guy doing? Jaguars fans are a bit confused, but Yeah, the Bears won that one. That one tripped me up. I would say Xavier and this Nate Borkature are definitely the biggest reaches so far. I mean, Borkature won the second, so I would say that's definitely by far because he had like 9 catches or something. Like, what are we doing here? But then Xavier probably second. Either way, Dieneman, great pick there. I mean, I think that's we'll get into it a little later in other segments. But on my Packers notes, quick. Obviously, our first round pick this year is Micah Parsons. So we I think we won the first round this year. Second round pick, though, Brandon Cisse, cornerback out of South Carolina. I'm excited about it. There's a lot of folks that thought he might go at the end of the first round, early second. So the Packers would get him at 52, or the consensus ranking had him like mid 40s. Really good value there. Super physical, likes to stick his nose in on the run game. Really good with the 50-50 balls, just tough at the catch point. And then I think he kind of fits exactly what the Packers want to do with the off-ball zone coverage is kind of his forte. He has elite closing speed, runs a true 4.4 40, and was the youngest dude and one of the youngest guys in this draft, not even 21 yet. So still developing, but still a really good player, as is a top 5 cornerback in this draft class. And the Packers are so needy. The Packers actually drafted for need this year, going to get their cornerback, an outside cornerback, which they desperately need. Keyshawn Nixon's on a contract year. No way in hell he's coming back. Carrington Valentine's nice, but he's not great. So I'm excited about Cisse. He's got, like I said, the closing speed is super exciting. And then I was listening to him on Richard Sherman's podcast, just wicked smart. He said, I would get off the practice field, and within 10 minutes, I'm on the tape. I'm writing notes. I'm studying. So I love a student of the game. Only gave up 1 touchdown last year. Had like a really good run defense grade too. I'm excited about that one. A lot of potential there. I think he's going to step in really early on to be a contributor for the Packers. So thought that was a cool pick. Was excited to see him address a need right off the jump. And then round 3, their second pick, they once again addressed a need, defensive tackle with Chris McClellan. Little bit of maybe a slight reach here. He was more consensus to be like a 4th-ish round pick. That said, I was thinking maybe that was going to be the big citrus we were going to take him there. But I think McClellan, why I'm excited, is he has real legit 3-down defensive tackle stuff. He's going to be a day 1 contributor in the run game. His pass rush has got a lot better. Last year, he racked up 6 sacks for a defensive tackle. It was his first like truly productive season from a DT. The notes on him is like he still plays a little bit high with the shoulder pad level, but he's got some good moves to him. He's developing quickly, and I'm excited about him to step in. We needed a guy in the run defense really bad for our defensive line, so I'm excited to see that. He's a big cat, just meaty, heavy paws up front. So excited about that guy. Not someone I expected that they were going to take, but again, like I said, they drafted for a need here. 6'4", 300 pounds, an inside, 3-tech kind of guy. So I was pretty excited about that. Just really good strength. He's an anchor on that D-line. So hoping that one works out. A lot of folks that, know a lot more than me seem to think, this is a guy who in a couple of years could be a really true 3-down defensive tackle. And that's exciting. And I think that's why they picked him quick. The Packers came on the board, pick was in immediately. So they must feel really good about it. He just occupies space like an MFer. So excited about that one. That's kind of my Packers stuff for now. I mean, meanwhile, and then the Jaguars take this guy, Jalen Husky, to end the day. The cornerback out of Maryland. I don't know what the hell they're doing, but when they took him, I was like, yo, Jermon McCoy, his ligaments must be outside of his body because he was a top 10 talent, like considered the best cornerback in this draft. And he just slid out of the first 100 picks. So this degenerative leg injury must be like seriously bad. He didn't even go in the first 3 rounds. That's crazy. We got Jalen Husky, I never even heard of, going before him. Jaguars making some weird moves, but that was another one of my surprises. Jermon McCoy. This must be really bad. Whatever's going on with his injury, man. But anything else on Packers Bears?
It's just nice to be, I think, in a similar spot as you guys are, where we're not praying for a number 1 top 5 pick. We're drafting to improve on what is supposed to already be a playoff roster. So it makes me happy. Even if they go to Indiana, they'll make me happy.
Yeah, and that's why that was another thing about McClellan. One of my favorite things about Big Citrus was
Yeah,
he
that's your
allows your
guy.
yeah, no, he allows your linebackers to play their game. He's a space eater. He occupies bodies. Linebackers can just fly around and not have to get consumed by blocks. McClellan's the same thing, just with more overall well-rounded skill set. So again, just really excited about that, man. Excited to see the Packers actually address their biggest needs and not go freaking like offensive lineman with one of these picks or running back. Something just ridiculous when it's like, we need to fix these things that we haven't fixed for years, please. So yeah, that was exciting. And then I think the only other note I had quick was let's get into this. This might come up. Why don't we do our favorite picks of round 1, round 2, you name it, I don't care. I got 2 picks for round 1 that are my favorite. I got an honorable mention. Did you have your favorite pick from round 1?
I did. I am going with Makai Lemon.
Yeah.
USC receiver.
Yeah.
And first off, the story between Pittsburgh and Philly is fantastic on the draft day. I'm not sure if everyone saw it.
The trade thing?
Yeah, where he's on the phone with Pittsburgh. They say, Makai, we're drafting you. Welcome to the Steelers. Here's Mr. Rooney. Here's all these things. And he goes, wait, why is Philly calling me on his other phone? Mm-hmm. And it goes, sorry, sir, you've been traded to the Eagles. And they swooped in and got him from the hometown Steelers. And I think this is a great pickup for them. I think even though he's a little undersized, he's going to fill a role for when A.J. Brown is subsequently traded in the coming weeks. And I saw him actually play in person by happenstance when USC played Illinois this last year, and he balled out. 11 catches, 151 yards, 2 TDs. They lost by 1 thanks to a last-second field goal. But this guy can play tons of yards after the catch, highly competitive, and I think one of the biggest notes on top of, good route running, good fit with the team, it's blocking. And for us Bears fans who watched last year and now are expecting Luther Burden to take that next step, the only reason he got on the field in the beginning of the year is because he learned how to block and could block. And that gave trust in the coaches to get him in more, get him in those positions, succeed, and then excel. I think that's a place where Makai Lemon can come in and do just that, of build his way through as maybe probably the third guy in this depth chart in blocking, have flashes, and then boy, oh boy, you got week 15 here. There's a new stud in town in Philly that's helping you win ball games in a postseason run. So I think it's a great, great pickup for Philly.
Couldn't agree more. Incredible pick for them, especially with the AJ. Done deal. Signed, sealed, delivered on AJ Brown trade now for sure. Funny thing is, like a lot of people said, like JSN with this guy. Both guys go at pick 20. Funny enough. But I think, small hands, but he only had three drops last year, I think I saw. I think he only had 3 drops last year. Great with he'll throw his body wherever. Like he'll take a hit. He's got a great catch radius for a 5'11" guy. Sticky hands. He's going to be using the slot in like a JSN. I know the Eagles brought in Sean Mannion from the Packers, who was just coached with Jaden Reed. I think it's going to be a very similar thing with how they use him, like slot gadget. Just do a bunch of them. You can throw him deep. You can do the short stuff. Let him run. He's got great speed. So yeah, that was a great pick for him to go to the Eagles. The only problem, people are like, well, what's going to stop this Eagles offense? Is Jalen Hurts throwing the football. That's still. You still got a Jalen Hurts problem throwing the football right now. So that's the Eagles getting him was like, damn, that's I can't believe he fell to 20. Like that was one of my shockers that he dropped to 20 either way. For me, this one was Caleb down to the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys, they moved up 1 pick to go and get him. He falls outside of the top 10, so you get incredible value for what most people thought is the best player in this draft. That defense is entirely void of a true difference maker since getting rid of Parsons. It feels like he's going to be an all-pro in a very short amount of time with just everything you can do with them. New DC, Christian Parker gets, a defensive back guy himself, gets arguably one of the most versatile safeties we've seen come out in a long, long time. They're probably going to throw him up in the nickel a lot. He'll be playing in the box a lot. He's going to be playing back, as I say. You can do everything. And he's going to be a rare rookie where he's probably going to be calling a lot of the coverages and doing a lot of the defensive stuff. He's just, his IQ and his awareness is just that high. This is an all around just like perfect football player that, Hate to see go to the Cowboys, but probably going to be an all-pro very quick. Like I said, just lines up everywhere. The Cowboys had 6 picks last year, only 42 passes defended last season, which, the Jets didn't even have an interception last year, and they still had more passes defended than the Cowboys. I think the next closest team that had 10 more. So they had the fewest deflections by a lot in the league. And so Cowboys fans, of course, ecstatic about this pick. How can you not be? Incredible pick for them to get Caleb Downs, and where they got him to. Didn't have to give up anything crazy to do it. Just a really good pick for them. Do you have an honorable mention or someone else that you wanted to, one of your favorite picks?
Yeah, my honorable mention is going to be Rueben Bain.
Okay.
And I think for some reason, everyone is obsessed with his damn little arms, little alligator arms, okay?
T-Rex arms, yep.
Or T-Rex arms. And it's like, why is that scaring everybody off? Like, this guy is a monster in college. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we got to just take a step back as football fans and go, why are we, like, we watch the guy's tape. Why are we then going, oh, well, in the one test in his, T-shirt and underwear in Indy, he had really small arms when we measured him. Like, what other sport does? We don't go to the NBA draft, the MLB draft, NHL, and go, boy, Shohei Ohtani would have been a great player, but man, his arms are too small. Like, we don't do that for other sports, and we break down these guys like a science experiment and kill their draft stock. Mm-hmm. And I think this is going to be a great pickup for the Bucs. He's going with Todd Bowles. He learns from Villaveta. I think it's going to be a really, really good fit for him. And a lot of teams are going to be really pissed that they let him go because of measurements. Measurements.
Yep.
So that's my extra pick here.
I couldn't believe the Saints didn't take him. Like, I can't blame him for taking Jordan Tyson, even though he's made of glass. Like, load up Shuck with weapons. I'm all about it. But you need an identity on defense. There's no Cam Jordan. There's no anything on your defense right now. And you let Rueben Bain was in your lap, and you went with Jordan Tyson. Again, can't blame me, but still, I can't believe he fell to 15. And man, I'm telling you, how everyone does a little thing in the mirror when they get their hat. He just grabs his hat, goes straight to the stage, doesn't even look in the mirror. I was like, oh man, this dude's he's pissed.
He's hungry.
He's gonna come to play mad next season. I'm thinking defensive rookie of the year next season for Rueben Bain. And of course, in Tampa Bay, what a good spot for him. He stays home. I really like him in that uni in those colors. Obviously, like, until the short arm shit, really, and the alleged, but killed somebody apparently. We were talking about him as a top 2 or 3 pick. So to go to 15, like, that's a steal of the draft in and of itself. I mean, he had one of the best pass or run defense grades of edge rushers. You can line him up all over the defensive line. We know what he is as a pass rusher. It's just truly dominant. Uses a big frame, big body, fast freak. Yeah, that's I couldn't believe he fell to 15, to be honest.
How about you? Honorable mention?
Yeah, honorable mention for me, it's Carnell Tate going at 4 to Tennessee. I loved that pick. I mean, he had as many touchdowns last year as the Titans did as a team receiving touchdowns. So that's one thing. We all know the Titans' glaring holes. Like, you got Cam Ward in there, 1-1, but you have no one to throw the ball to. They go out and get Wan'Dale Robinson. So your wide receiver room goes from void of talent to now you got your version of Devontae Smith, and you got your slot guy who is effective deep ball weapon the more he's developed with Wan'Dale Robinson. You got 2 legitimate dudes for Cam Ward to throw the ball to now, and you got Brian Daboll calling the shots. I think, I'm very high on the Titans going in the next season. I think they're going to surprise people. I think they're going to have one of the best differentials in how much they won last year to how much they're going to end up winning this year. I think they're going to add a good amount of wins, more than most teams, I think. And obviously they did some stuff to help out on the defensive side of the ball as well. But man, adding Carnell Tate, 2 Wan'Dale Robinson, 4 Cam Ward, and then I believe they went and got who's a tight end? I think they went out and got Oscar Delp in round 3. I could be wrong. Let me check really quick. I thought they went out and got did they get a tight end? I could be wrong. I could just be stupid. Anyways, Carnell Tate there was easily one of my favorite picks of the draft so far for them. And they got Anthony Hill on defense. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. That was a sweet pick for him. That was my honorable mention. I was like, just Love that. I love Cam Ward needs the weapons, needs to improve accuracy. Nothing helps more than getting two guys who can just get open incredibly well, got sticky hands, and can just do everything for you. So I'm really high on the Titans next season. I kind of like the new unis too. I think they're kind of cool.
Yeah, they're cool. Yeah, I'm fascinated to see how he does because I just assumed Jordan Tyson would go first over him, and it's one of those other OSU guys that just they're a factor in this draft, and especially in this too. That it's got to be in a good system, and like you said, if this was the Titans a few years ago, I wouldn't trust it. It's a reach. Not in terms of the talent, but in terms of how that talent that may have gone a little later fits with the organization. Brian Daboll in there, different animal. It completely changed the trajectory of what you're trying to do as a team.
Absolutely. I mean, if we want to stay on the reach point really quick, we can go into our least favorite picks because the guy I had for the Vikings was another one of the biggest reaches of the draft so far. Really, I mean, as a Packers fan, stoked about it. He's a good football player, right? I'm not saying he's going to be bad, and especially because they went out and added Big Citrus later on to pair with Caleb Banks. But Caleb Banks being the first D tackle off the board was a shock to me. The Vikings, they got their interim GM in there right now. This feels like exactly the type of thing an interim GM would do. Go reach for a D tackle with an injury. The
smartest guy in the room.
Yeah, with an injury concern on his foot, man. Like you had the perfect Harrison Smith replacement fall in your lap. Everyone thought you were going to take Thieneman and falls in your lap. You need a safety you need a safety upgrade so bad. And then you go with Caleb Banks. The foot injury, the recent surgery on a 330-pounder is a huge concern. And you used premium draft capital on that risk. And it's a guy who quite literally everyone had on day 2. It seemed like a miscalculated pick, right? Caden McDonald, he was still on the board. Peter Woods, still on the board. Two guys that consensus were ranked above Caleb Banks. So, and they're kind of 1 and 2 in the class. Caleb Banks was like maybe around 3, 4, 5, depending on you ask. He's allegedly going to be ready for camp. He might miss a little bit of camp. He might even end up missing time to start this season, to be honest. And given his size, a feet and ankle injury on people that big, those kind of linger. I mean, think about Devontae Wyatt for the Packers. He's got the ankle injuries that have come back up and kind of haunted his ability to stay healthy. And he's a more athletic 300-pounder. He's more athletic than Caleb Banks at 330. And so the foot injury on that dude that size, like those things pop back up, man. So I know, and Vikings fans online really highly skeptical about it. Most of them pretty pissed off, rightfully so. But I mean, if he stays healthy, I mean, he's massive. He's an absolute plug. So he can be definitely a disruptor. Again, if he stays healthy, I mean, they end up with him and Big Orange in the middle of their defensive line. That could be really, really nasty. But to use this pick on him, man, you could have stayed put in round 2 and got him there. So that was another one. I think maybe that was my third biggest reach of the draft was that pick. Really just did not like that one. But Packers fan, okay with it. Okay with it.
Yeah, it's always fascinating when you got these GMs in there that are finally got power in a weird situation and they reach to think they're the smartest guy in the room and you just don't know if it's going to work. And foot injuries are scary. I know it's not football, but like I think of like big man. It wasn't like Greg Oden and he had a big foot injury in the NBA.
Yeah. Yep.
Like that was his big downfall. And like, freak athlete, stud guy, just too ginormous for his feet. And it just never worked. So I hope it doesn't work for the sake of being a Bears fan, but otherwise, good luck. My least favorite one, I don't know if it's controversial, but it's just kind of in talking and listening to a lot of things this week, I've just kind of settled on David Bailey at number 2.
Oh, okay.
And I just think it's too safe. Like, I think he's going to be a good player, but if I were the Jets, I'm all over Arvell Reese. Like, that's who I'm taking. There is such a high ceiling on that guy and how he performed in college that he's also a couple years younger, which helps as well. That I think that's the guy you go for. And I know the Jets are probably shell-shocked from reaching and taking players that haven't worked out, especially for a team that hasn't won in 60-something years, which is insane. They should just be relegated out of the sport. But they need to have a stud and a star. And I think David Bailey is going to be very good. But I think Arvell Reese has that star potential that a franchise like the Jets is dying for, that can disrupt on defense. And it was just weird. Like, the Jets canceled the pre-draft visit with Bailey. And then when they called him, like, the reporters asked about it. He goes, yeah, I thought it was a joke. I'm like, why would they draft me? They canceled everything with me.
I thought that was Kenyon Sadiq. Wasn't that Sadiq?
Oh, was it Sadiq? I thought it was Bailey. I'm sorry.
You could be right. I thought it was Sadiq.
You might be right.
You might be. I don't remember. You might be right. I don't know.
Either way.
It's
just Jets being Jets.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think Bailey is going to be a really good player and can play right now. But the Jets aren't winning right now. They're trying to build greatness moving forward. And I think I would have taken the risk and on Reese. And my point is, David Bailey is not a bad player. It's not like, oh my God, this is the worst mistake that the Jets have made. I just think for that organization, they could have taken that leap of faith to do something a little more exciting that could propel them forward.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know there's definitely some Jets fans being like, Arvell Reese has to be the pick. I don't want David Bailey, as good as he is. Like, Arvell Reese does everything, including pass rush. Like, he was an effective pass rusher as a guy who's not an edge rusher. He still got it done and caused havoc in the backfield. And he's just one of the most gifted linebackers we've seen come out in a very long time. Hence the draft capital used to go and get him. I mean, him and Sonny Styles both, but yeah, I mean, I get the argument because they're void of a pass rush. Quentin Williams is gone. Jermaine Johnson, who they used a first-round pick on not that long ago, now he's gone. He's actually in Tennessee now. And you just got Will McDonald. And for me, like, as good as Will McDonald is, that's all you have. And he's not elite by any measure yet. He's pretty damn good, but he's not elite. And that's it. But yeah, I could have seen the argument for either or. I mean, Arvell Reese, I think, has more overall capability to impact your defense. So I definitely agree in that sense, because he can probably still get you 5 sacks a year, probably get you like 3 interceptions, and also get you like 180 tackles, and just be an absolute machine that you build around that guy instead of an edge rusher. E-Man always likes to say, superstar edge rushers don't win you Super Bowls. I mean, do linebackers? Maybe not, maybe even less, but Arvell Reese is that's a generational like linebacker talent. So yeah, I at least can see the argument. I don't think it's a crazy thing to say, because there's Jets fans who also say the same thing. Like, they wanted Arvell Reese to be the guy. All right, what about biggest surprise or reach? I went with the surprise route though. If we want to move into this one, my biggest surprise was honestly the pick right behind this one, with Jeremiah Love going to Arizona. My honorable mention was actually your guy, Makai Lemon, falling to the Eagles at 20. But Arizona pulling this one off at 3, like, I can't blame that, because the talent is undeniably incredible. Now he's tied with Trent Richardson for the 4th highest running back ever taken. Not great company with Trent Richardson. That we know how that went. But he is talented enough to earn that draft pick. This one just made no sense for what the Cardinals have going on. This is a team, I mean, I know they drafted Carson Beck, right? But you still have so many question marks at quarterback. And my only thinking here is, like, maybe it's the long game. They weren't sold on Ty Simpson, so they didn't want to make a move to get him. And they felt like, right, no matter who we take, we're still going to be drafting top 5 next year in a stacked quarterback class. So let's go get a generational running back talent who, like, has Christian McCaffrey-esque talent. But taking him at 3, you better make sure this is going to be a Hall of Famer. You just drafted Trey Benson in the 3rd round last year. You just signed Tyler Algier, who is very capable, and you still got James Conner, which, awkwardly enough, James Conner's up here announcing picks on day 2, and he's probably the guy getting ran out of town in Arizona at this point. So you have these guys in your backfield. I don't think any of them are as talented as Jeremiah Love, but Algier is going to consume 100+ carries. He's going to get goal line touches. And whether it's Benson or Connor, whoever your RB3 is, like they're also going to get a share because they're both talented enough to earn shares. They're probably going to get rid of one of them. But I just don't, I was just surprised they didn't trade back or just pick up more picks because they have so many gaps. They're so far behind the rest of the NFC West. One Jeremiah Love is not fixing that for you. And the worst part about this all, we all know the running back market is not great. He immediately becomes one of the highest paid running backs in the league, making almost $13 million a season. He's get $52.5 million in guaranteed money, is the most ever for a running back. This is another part. Like, this is, what are we thinking here, Arizona? And add in, like, again, where the positional value is for running back right now, this is a bad decision regardless of talent. And so obviously I was like, well, I got to see what Cardinals fans are saying. Online, they're pretty split because on one hand, impossible to not be stoked about the talent. Like, you just got like a Christian McCaffrey, a guy who, I'm not saying he's going to be Christian McCaffrey. He could be because he's a great pass catcher. He's obviously an elite runner. So yeah, very excited about the talent. Buy the jersey right away. On the other hand, it's that meme where you got the really nice car, the $200,000 car sitting in the driveway of a house that's completely falling apart and like on its last leg, barely even standing at this point. So prioritizing the wrong things to get right. So I was really surprised by that one, and it didn't make sense. As good as he is, it made no sense to make that pick there. You need so much more. You should have traded back and not draft the most expensive rookie running back in NFL history, regardless of the talent. Too much going on. I didn't like that one for them. What do you got? Or if you had anything to add on that one, maybe.
No, just it's like you said, you better be right because the running back position is very fluctuating in how they address it in the NFL if it's valued. And you got, Marvin Harrison and him, it's like these are great pieces, but it's to an offense that doesn't exist still because there's no quarterback nor a sound system. Mm-hmm. So we shall see.
Yeah.
I'm split between two. I know we're talking about Ty Simpson later, so I'll save my rant for that. But he's one of mine on there for sure as a surprise going to the Rams. That was shocking. Mm-hmm. And even everyone on the broadcast was like, we have our first shock of the night. Like, this is wild. But I'm going to go with another ode to Pittsburgh here with Max Iheanachor, the lineman that they got from Utah. And this one was the one where they literally were going to draft Makai Lemon and said, uh-oh, he's off the board. We have no clue who to draft. And they got this lineman who was projected to be a second-round pick in the first round. And it's just one of those where you see him on draft boards, even for the Bears and for others, that is a good depth lineman that you can get in the second round and is a good value pick for where that is. Mm-hmm. But to see him go in the first round was crazy. And to see a team like Pittsburgh, who's known as the, smartest organization in football most years, to be that panicked and that caught off guard to be like, oh shit, our guy's gone. And we have no plan whatsoever mm-hmm. on what to do if that were the reality. Mm-hmm. It was just a cluster all around. And it was just it was a surprising pick for the player. But I think it also is a testament and weirdly surprising for that organization. Like, I feel like they're sometimes always held to the standard of excellence. And we've only had, under 10 coaches in our history and winning. And like, for them to be acting like the Raiders or the old Jaguars or the Browns in that scenario was just bananas.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? Because he's only been playing football, I think, for what, like 4 years or something like that? Only a couple of years, but he was a 3-year starter at Arizona State, despite like barely ever playing. And so like he was that good. He didn't give up like any sacks. He's got good power. He doesn't harness it enough, but I know Pittsburgh needed linemen. They really did. So I can't blame him for going that route, but I think the problem is like you can't move him out of position because he's still really new to this.
Right.
But you just drafted Troy Fautanu last year. So I'm thinking now you have to move him to left tackle. So you got to mess with this guy. Now you're moving him to accommodate for Max on the right side. I also like that they went and got Jennings Dunker, the Iowa lineman, later to end the third round. Slide him in at guard with the redhead mullet. That's awesome. Um, because the Steelers do have to get right at tackle. Project Jones is a question mark. That's why I'm thinking they're going to move Troy. He's kind of struggled. So you get Fautanu over there. You get Max at right tackle. You got it. They had to address O-line regardless of who ends up at quarterback. So, yeah. So you think it was more of a panic pick because of the
Yes.
situation? I think he probably would have still went first round. Like I think the Patriots really liked him. You saw the clip with Vrabel like getting hands on with him.
He likes to get
Um,
hands on a lot lately.
Oh, he likes it. Yeah. Apparently for the last 6 years, apparently, too, is crazy. That's a whole nother can of worms. But I think the thing is, this guy's barely played football. He's a 3-year starter. He's been, for the amount that he's played, he's been incredibly good. So, like, the ceiling here is immense. If we can keep developing, we could have an all pro right tackle with the trajectory he's on for how little football he's played. Still has like techniques to work on, but like, of course he would. Like, you're only a couple years into your football career at this point, man. Really late bloomer. So,
It's like he's playing high school football. Is now the NFL for him. Like it's his first taste of the big leagues.
yep. So I mean, and a guy that big too, he's a good mover. So I understand you had to build up the O line. Would I've done that? I don't know. I mean, it might pay off, but yeah, I mean, I think that might lead. Let's stay on because you mentioned Ty Simpson. So let's get into that because we both have thoughts on this one, right? We wanted to do the segment of the pick in the first round that had the most fan backlash online, and it was Ty Simpson to the Rams, no doubt, right? I mean, we had a Rams fan now, my cousin. Once upon a time, I was texting him about it. He's kind of okay with it in the sense of, look, defaulting to Les Snead's judgment. He's been a very good drafter for the Rams, right? So like default to his judgment. For me, I was like, I've seen this before. This is the Rodgers Jordan Love situation in Green Bay. You are a step away from the Super Bowl. You got other really good teams in your division that are kind of like ready to pass you up / have passed you up. The Seahawks passed them up this year, right? And you need like another playmaker instead to like kind of, because Devontae Adams could be traded. He could get injured again, right? And then all you have is Puka. You really don't have anything outside of Puka for Stafford to throw the ball to. Instead, you go invest your top pick on a guy who's not going to contribute to your team this season, right? Like Jordan Love, he is awesome for the Packers now. But we saw how that played out in the immediate term for Green Bay, doing what the Rams did with Ty Simpson. You better be damn sure that you are going to develop this guy into a stud and that he's going to get you back to a Super Bowl, especially if you don't make one while he's the backup. And they wouldn't. I mean, obviously, we all saw that McVay was pissed. I felt bad for Ty Simpson too, man. Like, you're talking to coach, you're in the NFL. McVay had no emotion. Reports came out that he went mute the rest of the night. Horrible body language. He had no joy talking to Ty Simpson on the phone. And then that press conference, like, he wouldn't even commit to Ty Simpson as the backup. He's talking about Stetson Bennett as the backup still. So he was pissed. So I feel bad for Ty Simpson in that sense. And I think McVay's coming from I think where there's like the problem here is McVay was under the impression we're going all in. And Les Snead says, yeah, but I'm drafting a quarterback. The best time to draft a quarterback is when you don't need one. And I think we can develop this guy under Stafford for a year or two. And they're talking about a Stafford extension. So you extend Stafford, now he's sitting on your bench for 2, perhaps 3 years, and makes it all look more weird. But yeah, what were your general thoughts on the whole Simpson thing?
It's fascinating. And I think, one, if you're the Rams, you have to be all in and this is your guy of the future. But what's interesting is I've always been in the camp, especially living through the Mitch Trubisky nightmare, that the Packers way is the right way, which is disgusting to say as a Bears fan, but it's true. It was true in my brain. Of you have Aaron Rodgers, you draft Jordan Love, have him sit, learn, and go. That may have worked then. How long ago was that? When was Jordan Love
I
drafted?
think that was like 6 years. Shit, that was like, oh, it was during COVID. It was during COVID. So 5, 6 years, 5 years ago. Yeah.
So the NFL landscape has changed, and that's what the first thing I thought of the other night was, I don't know as a team if you can afford to do this. Forget the competitive aspect of the Rams should have been all in, drafted need to get them to the Super Bowl. I mean philosophically from an NFL salary cap perspective, because now you build these teams reliant on ensuring some part of your competitive window is during that rookie quarterback contract. That's how it's structured now. You're not having Sam Bradford out here making a gazillion dollars and destroying your franchise. It's built now, so okay, maybe you're suck for 2 years, but year 3, 4, and 5, you're supposed to be competing for playoffs and Super Bowl runs. And now you did the old school model of drafting the heir apparent behind Stafford, who's not going anywhere, but Stafford could play for 4 or 5 more years. So if he does, you've wasted an entire contractual window to compete with your young quarterback to be able to spend money on everything else around him. And I think that's just a really fascinating insight right now, because this is kind of the first experience I think, at least I remember or am seeing, where now we're seeing the old model of how to draft in the new salary cap structure that I don't think marries. And I think you're going to have a really weird situation where this is not going to work out in favor of the Rams financially. They may have gotten it right with the talent. He could be your starting quarterback for the next 10 years in 5 years. But then he's going to get paid and you're screwed.
It's kind of like Jordan Love, yeah.
Right. So it's wild. And I felt bad for McVay too. I know Snead and everyone came out and said we're on the same page. I'm like, no, I'm no expert. That press conference was brutal. Brutal.
Yeah.
It looked like they just neutered him on the spot and said, go. I mean, also, and not to be an old hat here, but every one of these draft rooms, everyone's in suits and ties, and your GM's in a hoodie. I don't know. That just was a weird look to me. The richest guy in the room is just in his little jewel. Well, you don't get jewel, starting from Chicago. So supermarket quality looking Rams hoodie that you get on the sale rack at the grocery store.
California dude, man. Just a California dude. I mean, yeah, again, with you had freaking Makai Lemon on the board. And you go with your back again. And I know Ty Simpson looked really good before he got hurt, right? He still had my big thing is here. It's like Mitch Trubisky. And I've said this before on the show, is like he's barely played football at a high level. He's barely started football at a high level. He couldn't beat out a guy who had terrible accuracy last year with Jalen Milroe. He couldn't beat out Jalen Milroe. And that guy was horrible at completing passes. He was just a great runner. And he ends up going like in the 3rd round of the Seahawks, which was even a reach then. And so for a guy who's barely started football games, I know he looked good, but he had a lot of deer in the headlights moments still. He's not like an otherworldly athlete where like that's the upside with his legs or anything like that. He can definitely make really good throws, at every level of field. So like, I agree. There is a lot of talent to work with, more talent than I think Mitch Trubisky had coming out. Despite, both of them are kind of similar in the sense like they barely played college football. They barely started any football games by the time they were a 1st-round pick. And that is wildly concerning. And yeah, the Rams just where they're at, man. Like they're still in a Super Bowl window, just like the Packers were. Like if the Packers don't draft Jordan Love, I mean, I wonder how it looks now, honestly. Like I would love to see the universe where they draft T. Higgins there instead of Jordan Love. And then you put T. Higgins with Devontae Adams. Like now we're going to be wondering, like, you could have put Makai Lemon with Puka Nacua, like, especially if you want to, like, they're already shopping Devontae Adams, like I said. He might get hurt again. He's old, man. He's getting banged up a lot now. Has been. So, again, just really surprised by that one. And the backlash was rightfully due. McVay, the body language was loud. The body language was loud on Sean McVay. So, yeah, that one was interesting.
It's weird. And listen, on the bright side, it's a great spot to learn. You're with a Hall of Fame quarterback and one of the top offensive minds in football. But Stafford's like a Brady, where like even though he's 38, it's not like he's on his last leg limping right now. Like he was, MVP caliber at 37 last year, right? So this is a guy that's going to play through his 40s and I think thrive, especially playing with who he plays with and where he plays indoors. That's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be fine. And so it's a weird gamble. And I love your comparison there of T. Higgins or Makai Lemon, like in these scenarios, like what it would mean and what you'd rather have as a fan. Like, is it this long term look or just get me one more damn title and I'll be happy?
Yeah, again, yeah. I was yeah. Rams fans, I'm sorry. Now you're living in my welcome to my world of good. Have fun with the discourse online for the next foreseeable future, especially if you don't get back to the Super Bowl. Because as a Packer fan, who I've seen this path, I've walked this path before. Um, it's a tough discourse online. And then when he comes out, man, if he becomes the starting quarterback, the pressure is on. Like Jordan Love, like pressure is on immediately for you to be good because you've been learning in the system. You learn under a Hall of Famer. You got a good system like that you're with. Like nut up or shut up immediately now. And he might be, dude. That's a tough one. But all right, let's go into our biggest steals of the first round, first two rounds. My first one was quick because we don't have to rehash it again because it for me it was Thieneman going to the Bears. For he dropped to where'd you guys pick? Were you guys like pick 28 or something like that? Pick 25. Yeah, so him going there when everyone thought he was for sure gone by pick 18 to the Vikings. I thought that was incredible value for you guys to get him there. I know he still kind of gets bullied when he gets into the box a bit, but great athlete, adds to a defense that's already just one of the most ball hawking secondaries in the league. So I think you pair him, like I said earlier, with Kobe Bryant, an ascending star at the position. That's a nightmare back the second, third level of the defense for you guys. So that was my initial one since we already talked on them. I'll move to the second round quick, and I'll say safety actually is Emmanuel McNeal-Warren, Toledo safety, going to the Browns at pick 58. When again, this is a guy most people thought was going in the first round. I'm not entirely sure why he dropped this far into the second round, but I think he's going to perform a lot better. He's good in coverage. I think he's not great in coverage, but what's intriguing about him is he makes a lot of tackles and he sticks his nose in there. He's really physical. He's strong for a safety. So I think like that type of dude adds that level of physicality to your defense, and you can bring him up to the box. He just happens to always be around the football. And, he kind of reminds me of his Peanut Tillman. Dude's always punching out the football, man. Like, that's a great player to have on your defense.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you got a couple interceptions. So I think if he can improve his coverage, he wasn't the fastest here in a 4.52 40. But again, it's the tackles. I think I was kind of surprised to see him fall because he's just an overall solid football player and a kind of a difference maker in terms of forcing turnovers, even if the coverage skills are not where they need to be. So that was kind of my other one for him to fall that deep. And I mean, like I said earlier, though, my overall steal of the draft so far is unquestionably Chris Bell, 94 pick to the Dolphins. That one, I'm telling you, they got away with murder or with some type of crime, getting him that late despite the injury. So that's my kind of guys. Who do you got?
On my list, I'm going back to someone I talked about probably a few months ago, and it's my DN from Illinois, Gabe Jacas, and he went 2 picks before my Bears pick, which I was very upset about. But the Patriots traded up for him, and this is a guy I think, he's a second round pick, so he's not a super sleeper, but I think it's a big steal, and it was underrated in a program that has quietly developed some really good defensive players in the draft the last couple of years. And 4-year starter at Illinois, the last 2 years, 26.5 tackles for loss, 19 tackles in his 25 games, 3 forced fumbles in each of his seasons. Just a really consistent, solid player, a big dude, playing against Big Ten competition like Ohio State every week. And is a guy that bought into a system and thrived. And I think if the Patriots, who are coached by a defensive head coach and Mike Rossini, Vrabel, I think if he's still there, barring whatever damn update comes to his story,
Mm-hmm.
he's a genius defensive mind, and he'll be
Mm-hmm.
set to really thrive in a healthy organization. So I really like that pick, not just because he's for Illinois,
Mm-hmm.
but I've seen him play for too long to know how good he can be, and not that he dropped, but he deserves a little more love than he got. So I'm excited to see what he does in a Patriots uniform. The last time the Patriots drafted this late, they took Illinois' Ted Karras, who was a center for them, and is still starting in the league and has, I think, I don't know, 3 or 4 Super Bowls under his belt. Like, it's just crazy.
Worked out.
So I think they know what they're doing in New England.
Yeah, I mean they lost K'Lavon Chaisson this year. They needed to replace him, and you go get a guy who he's got a wrestling background, physical as all shit. He's probably got one of the best motors of any edge in this class because he'll show up in run defense as well. He can win with a secondary pass rush move. He just one of those guys who just forces the pocket backwards, forces the pocket to move with his physicality. So I think in the sense of like what the Patriots kind of needed to get on their defensive line. I think it was a great pickup for them. Like I said, because he can kind of do more than just be a pass rusher. He's a willing run defender. He'll have to improve there a little bit, but he's got the motor, man. Like he works his ass off. And again, I think it's just these guys with a wrestling background. They're just like physical as hell. So I always love that. So yeah, I thought it was a great pick for the Patriots to get him at pick 55. It looks like so. That was good. And I was also kind of surprised, and this is what I wanted to say earlier. Caden McDonald dropping to pick 36. It should have been illegal for Caden McDonald to get added to the Texans defense. To put him in between Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. And now you got arguably the best run defending defensive tackle who's just a menace. Like I'm telling you, I think this was you could toss up a coin flip between him and Christian Miller, Peter Woods. You think whoever you think is the best. I mean, to him to get added to the Texans defense is horrifying. The best defense in the NFL got maybe the best defensive tackle in the draft, and he is a piggy that's going to free up 2 all-pro defensive ends to go be incredible, or edge guys to be even better. Take some focus off of them and be a run-stuffing machine for that Texans defense. The offense is going to still needs CJ Stroud to come through, but I know it's pick 35 or what was it, 36 that he went, but still, man, he should have went earlier than that, and it's not fair that he got to go to the to the Texans. So that was kind of another one. All right, let's go into it. Who did you have as your best grade for this draft? Your best grade, your favorite draft so far. What did you have for this one?
A sentence that has never been said in the history of mankind. The Browns.
Ooh,
Well, I guess that's 2 words more than a sentence, but
Browns.
the Browns, the Brownies. Shockingly, they came into this draft, and I know you already mentioned McNeal-Warren, but the first 2 picks before that with Spencer Fano on the line and Casey Concepcion at wide receiver, they're building around Shador. And I think these are 2 really high quality picks. And normally this team doubles down on really bad picks and goes in the wrong direction. And I think they finally got it right in foundational pieces that can help bring along a quarterback that frankly came into the year last year and was dead to rights. I mean, he had no shot. And so this really gets him a lot of support, and it's on top of everything else they're trying to do to rebrand this team as competitive. So I really like what the Browns did because they're investing, right? The biggest thing is always the joke of Myles Garrett wanted to trade, the Browns suck, they're not winning, and then he was like, "Oh, but you're going to pay me? I'll stay in this misery." And they had a great defense, but they couldn't figure out the offense. And I think finally, with these 2 early first round picks, they're able to get impact starters immediately to help bring along Shedeur Sanders. And we'll see if it works.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it for Browns fans, they're gonna find a way to mess this up.
Always.
It's gonna mess up somehow. But this was my other one. Like this team got so much better. Yeah, like you said, Fanu, Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston, McNeal-Warren. Like I'm really high on what the Browns are doing now. Will they fumble the bag? Probably, but like an offense of if Shador can kind of just keep it going in the right direction. I mean, you got Quinshaw Junkins as your running back. It's a really nice piece. You still got Jerry Jeudy. Cedric Tillman's not like bad. He's pretty decent. So now your receiver room is Concepcion, Denzel Boston, two guys that had first round grades you were able to get on top of now getting a franchise tackle with Fanu on top of it. It's with Harold Fannin, who's looking like he's going to be a top 5 tight end in the league very soon for his pass catching abilities. Exciting there. Obviously, they went and added Elton Jenkins from my Packers. They added your Tevin Jenkins from the Bears once upon a time. And on that defensive side, man, with adding McNeal-Warren to your defensive backfield with Denzel Ward, you got Carson Schlesinger, who has a rookie last year, like already all pro form for a rookie linebacker. On top of course, Mason Graham as your defensive tackle, the top pick from Michigan last year, and Myles Garrett, and Malik Collins. Like the Browns have, on paper, as much talent as any of the really good teams in football. And I know a lot of it's young guys too, besides, Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward, but those are two all pros for not being young guys. And Grant Delpit's a fine safety, Ronnie Hickman, whatever. Tyson Campbell, not terrible. Like, this is going to really come down to coaching with the Browns and / how Shador plays / allegedly maybe Deshaun Watson. Who knows? I can't wait to see how that one plays out, what goes on there. But the Browns have had it. What would you give the grade for the Browns here? Give it an A plus, A minus.
Because it's the Browns, I'll give them an A minus because I get
Oh.
scared. B plus, A minus. I can't go too high, but it's a style of drafting that we haven't seen in a long time or ever from them, and it is smart.
Yeah.
It's actually planned out and nuanced and smart.
Their weapons are insane. This is one of the better weapons group from tight end to receiver to running back in football on paper. I'll say it. I'll defend that one. I don't care who was like, oh, no, it's not. Like, bro, you can't tell me, and I'm not saying Jerry Jeudy's like elite by any means, and you never know with the rookie. None of them might work out at all. But like, again, just on paper, this is a really good group. We know Harold Fann's really good. Quinshawn Junkins looked really good. So yeah, I'm kind of high on the Browns after what they did. I'll give them an A for this draft. Another team that, bottom barrel dumpster of the league is the Jets. And I'm just going to roll out and say I'm giving the Jets an A+ grade for their draft so far. I love the David Bailey pick in the sense of like they needed a pass rush desperately. Whatever you did, you needed a guy who can get to the quarterback. David Bailey is the best pass rusher in this class. You get Kenyon Sadiq. You get the most athletic tight end we've seen in a long, like since Vernon Davis was coming out. You get Omar Cooper, right? Garrett Wilson has so badly needed a running mate on the other side of him. Now he gets two of them. He gets Kenyon Sadiq, who they'll probably put in the slot a bunch, and you get Omar Cooper to be the other outside guy. Mind you, you still have Mason Taylor at tight end. So I'm thinking a lot of 12 personnel. Mason Taylor is a very capable guy. And then they would go out in round 2 and get D'Angelo Pons, the cornerback from Indiana. He's undersized, but holy hell is he freaking good, man. If he was just like not 5'8", 5'9", he's a first round talent. He had first round production, first round tape. Like it was all there besides like the height and size, but he plays much bigger than he actually is. And he is so, so productive on that defense. I think it was funny. I can't remember who it was on the NFL Network said like his comparison to D'Angelo Pons was Aaron Glenn. And now he's playing in Aaron Glenn's defense. Yeah. So it works out that way. So again, you get the top pass rusher in the draft. You get the most freakish athletic tight end ever who's running a 4.39 at 240. To me, with Omar Cooper, that's like a Deebo Samuel, like a Deebo Samuel, like Higgins hybrid skill set, because Omar Cooper, elite yak guy. Like his yards after catch, his break tackles, he's like a running back when the ball's in his hands. And then we've seen him make incredibly tough catches, boundary catches, great hands. So you add all of that to your offense, and you hope for the best with Geno Smith at this point, bringing him back. You hope. You're not banking on it. You're probably looking at, you got to get a quarterback next year. And then you get rid of Sauce Gardner and D'Angelo Ponds again. He's small, but he plays like a true quarterback one. He is really freaking good, man. So I think the Browns just absolutely nailed it. They have a very young, extremely high ceiling duo as their pass rush with McDonald and David Bailey now.
I mean, the Jets.
What did I say?
The Browns.
Did I say the Browns? Still stuck on the Browns? The Jets. Yeah, they have that really good duo there. So, yeah, I'm giving them an A+, man. They have not missed on a pick yet. Like, between Bailey, Sneak, Cooper, and Ponds is an incredible draft. They'll blow it somehow. Crazy. They're going to blow it.
Right, because it's like, the offseason winner, and you're like, oh, but then they suck. It's like it's nuts to be leaving the draft and go. And I know we got a couple more rounds to go, but leave the draft and go, who won the draft? Oh, the Jets and the Browns. You're like, what?
I don't know in terms of like, but for me on the flip side of this coin, then, well, do you have someone who's got the worst draft yet? Because I know mine.
Go for yours first. I'm still debating mine.
I'll say I've already talked about it. It's absolutely the Jaguars. Their picks aren't making any freaking sense to me, man. I don't know. I think someone needs to sit down. What's his name? James Gladstone. Someone needs to sit him down and be like, so talk to me through your process on day 2 here. Were you on drugs? Did you kind of just look at the scouting reports wrong and think like, yeah, let's go get these 7th round guys in round 2 and 3 here? Because again, I just am not sure with what was on the board. And you're taking, who was the Nate Borkature, right? Again,
that's your guy.
Nate Borkature, and then the tight ends that go after whom who actually deserve the pick, like Marlon Klein, Max Clare, and then that's in the second round. And then the third round, you get more tight ends who should have got him. Some Roush, probably not, but Oscar Delp should have gone before all of them. And then you get into the third round with the Jaguars. Like I said, the 100th pick of the draft, Jalen Husky out of Maryland. It's a big surprise he went in day 2. He had an 18% draft chance to get drafted, and they took him in round 3. 18% to get drafted. And so it's like, what are you doing here, James Gladstone? Like, what are you seeing that quite literally nobody else is seeing? That said, the one pick I think the Jaguars nailed, they did. Emmanuel Pregnon, the guard from Oregon. I thought this was a first-round guy. My last mock, I had him going at the end of the first round. He is an absolutely explosive, powerful mauler, finishes blocks as good as anyone. Like, I'm surprised he went at pick 88. I couldn't believe how far he went. I mean, I know he kind of struggles with like the fast guys, but he was an incredibly effective pass blocker at Oregon for them. Kind of like you can run the offense, but right behind him. So I thought he would go second round, no question. So that one I think was a home run pick, because otherwise, Albert Regis, man, again, I know they got some contracts coming up and they got to figure out that defensive line between Eric Armstead's getting old. Davion Hamilton is like kind of done and he's gone after this season. Albert Regis is versatile, good player. He's just not productive. I don't see why you're taking him at pick 81 when I think, again, you could have just got better guys at that pick and you have other things you could have addressed or just maybe just gone with a better defensive tackle, perhaps. I don't know. Jaguars have been my biggest loser. And the Buccaneers, man, I love it. They got my guy Ted Hurst, so good for him. The receiver I'm really high on, so excited to see how they use him.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like I have to weirdly choose the Bears.
Really? Okay, man.
Like, I love my team, and I now finally trust the front office. But in thinking more about it, their draft makes no sense. Because they're drafting for prospect and potential and not need in a win now window with Caleb Williams. And you need the safety. Fine. He's fine. Everything else after that just doesn't work for me. Logan Jones, prospect, future. Sam Roush, third string tight end, if that. Xavier Thomas, like you said, projected 6th, 7th, or even undrafted. Yeah. And he's a third round pick. And the Bears have a weird history with this GM, third round picks. I know these are names, not everyone will know, but the first pick of this GM for the Bears was Velus Jones Jr., who was,
Yikes. That didn't
hard
work.
knocks darling turned disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Pickens, the defensive tackle from Georgia, can't see the field.
Mm-hmm.
Karam Anagaji, wow, he said that way too fast. Karan Amagaji from Yale is the tackle, and they put him in last year, and it was a turnstile. I mean, this kid had no business being in the NFL. And then now you have Sam Roush, who I'm sure I think is actually a good player, not the right fit. And then Xavier Thomas. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 out of those 5 picks that are questionable, with 2 of them basically off your team and out of football.
Mm-hmm.
And those are not 6th round picks, 3rd round picks. And so that's where this Bears grade. I'm fascinated to see what they do to finish out the draft, but they're in a position to draft for immediate impact, and they're drafting for 4 years down the road. And that's just not where this team is for the first time in a long time. That's not where this team is.
And it's guys that they're roster bubble guys. Like they're not seeing the field at
Correct.
all. I mean, again, this Xavier guy, he might be a kick returner. He's got insane speed, right? Like he might end up being he might be a special teams asset on day one. But again, when you're in the competitive window and you just open your Super Bowl window, like let's lock the F in. This draft has not been that outside of your first pick. And I guess last thing I'll say to kind of wrap up the show here is this league cannot continue to let Howie Roseman rob everybody. How do people keep trading with Howie Roseman and letting him get away with this?
With
he
murder.
go gets if you didn't see it, he go gets Jonathan Greener from the Vikings for a couple midday picks. They give him a big contract extension. I know Greener wasn't Greenard, whatever his name is, wasn't productive last season. He's got one of the best get-offs in football. Not even close. I think he was top 10 in terms of like get-off speed. He's still really effective. We watched him in the NFC North. He had some incredibly good reps against Penei Sewell, Zach Tom, our right tackle. Like he's had really good reps and beating some of the best tackles in football. You can line him up on both sides. Now he's in the Eagles. And then you also let him go and get Makai Lemon in a trade again. Like, why do people entertain this man? You know what's going to happen. Everything he trades for works out for the Eagles to keep letting them run it back. And then I really like the tight end that they went and that they ended up picking up to Eli Raridan, I believe, is the tight end they got. Let me just double check that. I could be getting it right. I think they got Eli Stowers. My bad. But just super versatile, great catcher of the football, huge catch radius. He's got a wide receiver skill set, a converted quarterback. Dallas Goedert's kind of like on the ends with his time in Philly, to where I think Eli Stowers is going to end up being like a really good tight end for them. So that was my last like soapbox is stop trading with Howie Roseman, NFL. What the hell? I don't understand why we let this man keep getting away with these things. All right, Joey. Anything to wrap up on your mind to wrap up day 1 and 2 of the NFL draft? I think we kind of hit on most of the stuff.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a weird fascination that we just watch people get picked for their employment, but it is it would happen in no other business.
Yep.
But it's a blast.
I got one more for you.
Yeah, go for it.
Because the Steelers drafted a quarterback. They needed a quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
We got it before we end. How do we feel on Drew Allar going to this? Because right now their quarterback situation, like Rodgers has not committed. It's Mason Rudolph, which there's no way you're feeling good about that. It's Will Howard, who they got last year at the end. And now they go Drew Allar out of Penn State. He stays in Pennsylvania. And this is funny because Will Howard is from Pennsylvania. Drew Allar is from Ohio, where Will Howard played football. And they kind of just flip-flopped in terms of where they're from / where they played. And now they both end up in Pittsburgh. And again, if I'm a Steelers fan, I'm still like, I don't know how I feel about this because like, yeah, there's potential with Drew Allar for sure. I think he's got a ton of potential. He's got a really big arm. He's shown that he has great processing ability. And it was just totally all wasted in Penn State's whole debacle of the last few years and just a trash system. They end up clearing house and shit. So I think it was all wasted with him there, where I think he's got more potential than Will Howard. But how do you feel about that pairing?
It's really interesting because I still think it's going to be Aaron Rodgers' team here.
You think he's coming back?
Come the start of the year. Like I just he likes to do things his own way, but I don't think he's ready to hang it up. So it's an interesting spot because I don't know if he really feels like teaching a new kid how to play football. And I feel like Mason Rudolph just lives in Steelers country forever after he's fighting Myles Garrett with a helmet. So I just don't know if this works. I think this is one of those guys that's a good college story that is not going to translate. And we saw what happened before. Granted, I know the rounds are different, but Pittsburgh took that risk with Kenny Pickett in the first round. Yeah. And there were some people, very highly respected voices in the Steelers nation of media and whatever, that were like, this is awesome. And the other half was like, you are reaching beyond reach.
You're in danger.
Yep, and they were. And now we're here again where a little less, expectation, but still a big enough name in college football to where Steelers fans know who he is, and obviously, like you said, he's from the state, that I'm not bought in on it. Yeah. But that's still not worse to me than Carson Beck, but that's a story for another day.
I mean, yeah. He's got traits that you love to see, right? He's 6'5", 230. He's just like a gifted passer. He's got a big arm, but he was horrible against the best teams, man. And again, it was more that like Penn State in general had a lot of problems with their offense, with their whole team, right? But he was 1-7 against top 10 teams and had a completion percentage under 50% total in these games. So he never showed up again in the biggest games, in the biggest moments. He's got some injury problems, but I think it's just the traits that you're so excited by, and the size, the Josh Allen size, and the big arm that teams generally drool over. He just hasn't been able to follow through, but they might be banking that, like, you know what? I'm pretty sure Mason Rudolph is starting. If Rodgers doesn't come back, I think he's honestly gonna be the third string quarterback. Honestly, I think he's gonna be competing for the second string job. Mason Rudolph's going to shit the bed. One of these guys are going to get a chance. And this is all assuming Rodgers doesn't come back. If Rodgers comes back, then who knows what's going to happen. But I think they're just going to try to develop him because I think that they think there's a lot to unlock there. I just think he's going to be buried on that depth chart to start, and you use a third round pick on that, which, I think, they needed a quarterback. Why not take the chance and see what happens? Maybe a light turns on in camp. He looks really good, and preseason balls out. You never know. So worth the risk because there's a lot there to work with. That was the last one. I think that's the last thing. But all right, good draft talk, man. Good stuff.
We did it.
Absolutely. Long episode, but worth it. I think we hit on a lot of stuff, a lot of the big things. Giants also having a good draft too. I'll just shout that out really quick. I think the Giants are having a fine draft. But yeah. All right. Weird Saturday episode, but that is it. We'll be back next week to recap the rest of the draft, do some more stuff, see what else is going on around the sports world. And until then, we'll see you.